In this episode of the Cannabis Packaging Show, we look at the best concentrate packaging for those who want to create a top cannabis brand. The Cannabis Packaging Show is brought to you by Contempo Specialty Packaging, the new standard of excellence in cannabis packaging.
Welcome to the Cannabis Packaging Show, the world's first cannabis packaging show. Today we're going to talk about concentrate packaging, the best concentrate packaging for 2021. I know this is a category, it seems like maybe it started with flower and now it's moving to where concentrates seem to be what we're getting asked constantly for new, unique ways to package concentrates. So there's a number that I want to share with you today, and we can get right into it. But first, we need to talk about what I'm doing here. So, in honor of all the trade shows we haven't been able to go to this year, I have these hanging on my wall, and I thought we'd do a little giveaway. So if you can guess the number of lanyards on my neck right now, first person to do it, to our Instagram, direct message, $1,000 packaging credit. So at Contempo Specialty, guess the number of lanyards, you get the $1,000 packaging credit, and on with today's video. So our general message really has been, you don't want the same packaging as everyone else. And I'll ask you that question right away. Are you packaging your products the same way as everyone else? And just to give you an example, before we get into the concentrate packaging, this is some new yogurt that I saw in the grocery store that was packaged in a very unique way. It's called Oui, O-U-I, because it took many years of French, although that may be the degree of what I remember in French, by Yoplait. So it's glass, there's foil lidding, the foil lidding is branded. The labels have a nice texture to them. They're not just your traditional labels. So this is an example of a brand, obviously a very popular brand in the yogurt space, in the food space, that understands that you don't want to package your products the same way as everyone else. I know now is the right time that you should start thinking about having packaging that's differentiated and that's easy to recognize, where people walk into a dispensary and they go, boom, that's my brand. They can understand it, and you're not just using the same container with a label that other people are. Now with the concentrate packaging for real. The first one I want to show you is something that we're very proud of. It's the Shape Lock box for concentrates. And the Shape Lock box actually originally was made for vapes and vape kits, and that's being used all over. And it's getting raving reviews. We're really encouraged. We saw on Reddit, there was like a Reddit thread talking about a big Ohio brand that had picked up this packaging for vapes, and they're saying, we love it, it's perfect. And now we've seen, I was thinking about just how do we create unique concentrate packaging that's better than the status quo, and we thought about it for the Shape Lock box, Shape Lock for concentrates. So the way it would work, this is, there's several versions of the Shape Lock box. These are the taller sizes for vapes. We said, why couldn't we do it for concentrates? And we already have people coming on board, so it's going to be shorter. But the great thing is, number one, it fits all the compliance information. So you literally have, like the Shape Lock box, you have one unit. You don't have the jar, the box, it's just one unit. You can fit all the compliance information on it. Number two, it's branded and differentiated. You can use all sorts of cool papers and textures, and this comes in the hexagon, the square, the circle, 2 triangles, and with the Shape Lock you can customize the height, right? So if you want it to be a little taller or shorter, you could do that. But let me actually show you the Shape Lock for concentrates. So it would be right here. It's propped up so you can actually very easily access the product. You screw the top off. This top is not child resistant because the overall unit is. And this is adhered to the Shape Lock box. So just a really cool presentation. This is the kind of thing that's definitely a showpiece that people keep around. And that's something that I've talked about for years, but I'll talk about it now, is this idea that packaging, if you have beautiful packaging that's different, it serves as a billboard. So that's Shape Lock for concentrates, and let us know if you want a sample of that. The next product I want to show you is not primary packaging. So Shape Lock would be more, actually it's a combination of primary and secondary packaging, so you can fit all the regulation. This is just secondary packaging, you could call it. This is actually a product that some other people have started doing, knocking off. That's life to a degree, but we really pioneered this in the cannabis industry. So it's a card You can fit all sorts of branding and compliance on it. Shout out to Northeast Alternatives. And the concentrate jar, whichever one you choose, would just you pop it through, screw the top on, and this can merchandise hanging, or it can just house your branding and marketing and compliance information. So this, we call it the concentrate card. And this can be customized in a wide variety of ways. There's also a version of, this is actually not a concentrate version, but I'm showing it as a reference because we actually sent out the samples that we've depleted our samples, but it's called our concentrate card. So this is also the concentrate card, but this version of the concentrate card is actually a fold over that cannot be removed. So once it adheres, you could screw the jar off, but in this case, you could remove the jar. This is more just for like merchandising, versus this one, this sort of style, and we can show you it if you're interested. It actually adheres to the jar permanently. So you can have a little jar, but it's very hard to fit all the compliance information on. And in some places like Canada, let's say, they want that compliance and regulatory to stay with the product for the life of the product. So that concentrate card idea, this is a version of this where it permanently adheres to the jar. If you go back to, we'll talk about trade shows. Many of you have probably received this at one of our trade shows, these pouches with the different materials, but just a review for people who are new to Contempo Specialty Packaging, which is our company. There's so many ways that you can customize these. So, don't be confined to what's in front of you here. We're going to create the vibe of the brand that you want to create. So spot UV varnishes, craft, metallic inks, soft touch varnish. This is a really cool foil pattern that everyone loves. This is more of a textured paper with a gold hot stamp with some glitter on it. So literally, whatever vibe you want to create. As the cannabis industry becomes more competitive, packaging matters more. Success initially in the cannabis industry was based on opening your doors quickly and being a good operator. Success long-term in the cannabis industry will be based on having great products, being a great operator, but branding and packaging. Period. I see it no different than any other industry. We talk about that all the time. We want to end the stigma and we want cannabis to be the same as every other industry, yet sometimes we package cannabis products in generic packaging that may add to the stigma, if anything. So cannabis is no different than anything else, ladies and gentlemen, and packaging should follow suit. Additionally, we have these envelopes for shatter. Again, fully branded in any way that you want. You've probably seen those before, but I do want to mention that we can do those. And next, let's go to this section of secondary packaging again. So when we talk about secondary packaging, we're talking about folding boxes, and we've done folding boxes for, decades. So those are the basics that we could do before we entered the cannabis industry 3.5 years ago. Our mission in the cannabis industry was beautiful, child-resistant packaging for every cannabis product, but that doesn't mean we can't do secondary packaging as well. So secondary packaging is big with concentrates. That's actually why I love the shape locks, is because you're kind of marrying the primary and the secondary packaging together, which makes it easier to pack. But this is, secondary packaging, nothing you guys haven't seen. This is really cool as a concept. Some primary packaging with like a door on it. So you could have an insert with the concentrate jar in there. Again, this secondary package isn't child resistant, but it's a cool sort of design that you see out there. And then also, think about higher end premium boxes, maybe with a hinge and a magnet. Obviously, this is very large. This wasn't made for concentrates, but I think concentrates especially because there's a higher price point, so you can afford to put a little more into your packaging and still have good margins. So think about packaging that you find in beauty aisle or food or fashion or whatever. For concentrates in particular, I think it's a great idea. Now we're going to go with some a little more outside the box ideas. This is actually a concept that I want to show you guys. We've filed our patents on this, so I can show you, but I want to be very clear, this is not ready for market, but I want to share the idea, and I'm not going to share too much about it because I know maybe some competitors watch the show as well, but I want to share it to all cannabis brands that sell concentrates. So the idea behind this concept is that there's a concentrate jar on the top here, and there's this extended bottom as well. The extended bottom is great for compliance and regulatory, but what's really cool about this is that there's actually I'm not going to show how it works, but there's a trap door compartment where you can actually put instructions for dabbing or a dab tool or whatever else you could put with the purchase. So I know that's not allowed in every state or country. We showed it to a few people in Canada, and they said we're not sure Health Canada would go for that. But let us know. We're pretty far along with that. Again, our patents are filed on that concept of the child-resistant with the extra compartment for the sake of concentrates and maybe some other similar products. So if you're interested in that, the molding is significant, but maybe we could partner on that. Maybe we do some kind of exclusive for you on that. So if you want to, basically if you get involved in the development, we're going to give you something for it as well. So the last thing I'll say in this concentrates episode is think about some of the other child-resistant items you see, vault boxes, locking tins, and could you turn those into a concentrate package? Could you put a non-child resistant jar into one of those? Just think outside the box with concentrates, or even taking a child resistant concentrate jar and putting it into a unique secondary package. There's so many ideas. One thing I want to say is we're coming out with a concentrate jar that's child resistant, that's unique. It's going to be very well priced. Still a little bit different. Still, if you're using our jar, you definitely want to differentiate. I think any concentrate jar, you really want to look to the secondary packaging because they all look very similar.
We have an exciting announcement to make. Contempo's child-resistant concentrate jar is almost ready and will allow for more customization than any other jar on the market. This will allow you to differentiate yourself from other brands who are still using the same packaging as everyone else. If you would like to be one of the first 100 people to receive a free sample, click the link in the description. This offer applies to legal cannabis businesses only.
That's concentrates. Ask yourself one more time, am I using the same packaging as everyone else? You don't want to become a commodity. If you use the same packaging as everyone else, you will be a commodity long term in this industry. That is a bad decision. And if you need help with that, Contempo Specialty Packaging is here to help. See you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching the Cannabis Packaging Show.